Yugi. He couldn't have gotten far.
I mean, this is a big castle, and for all we know, Pegasus activated another hidden trapdoor to make it escape.
Well, that tower, it looks...
Yeah, go on.
She will, just as soon as you stop interrupting her and let her talk, Yugi. She didn't even last a second before Yugi tells her to go on with what she was already saying.
And then Bakura's evil spirit came out, but why did we forget?
Thief King Bakura wiped everyone's memories of the sting operation from last night, and all it took for Millennium Magic to be destroyed was a simple gaze at the tower.
Everything I've struggled to obtain is now beyond my grasp.
Losing a card game apparently destroys an evil plot to take over as CEO of a billion-dollar company. From the moment Pegasus captured the souls of the Kaiba brothers, wouldn't the takeover be completed? Still to this day, defeating Yugi in a duel to obtain CEO powers doesn't make any sense. Aw crap, I accidentally released the souls back into the wrong bodies. This is definitely going to be crazy when Seto Kaiba finds himself in the body of Solomon Moto.
To get all the Millennium items was all done for you.
Obtaining other Millennium items would definitely be the closest Pegasus could ever get to resurrecting his wife from the dead. But how is taking over Kaiba Corp, a gaming company, supposed to ensure that happens? You were doing just fine on the hunt for the Millennium items.
What you couldn't win from Yugi, perhaps you can win from me.
But don't worry, I know that we just went through 5 episodes of your grueling battle with Yugi and the Pharaoh, so this won't take even 2 minutes, or be decided with cards. Thief King Bakura must have swiped Teia's deck since the barely visible card shown at the bottom is one of those cute angels. Unless for some bizarre reason, Bakura also had one of those cards.
This card is upside down, which means your romance ended in tragedy.
Antagonist of Season 1, meet the main antagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh! Itself. The moment you see this confrontation, that's when you can tell how dangerous Bakura truly was. Sure just wish he could win an actual card game against main characters, you know? Still, this was awesome. Yep, this is the Shadow game, folks. Turns out all Bakura had to do was break into Pegasus' castle from the very beginning and fight him with a discount priority and Cantatum from Harry Potter. No. Also, this is one of the occasions where I wish the anime followed through with the manga, as Thief King Bakura murdered Pegasus by stealing his Millennium Eye. As Pegasus does nothing of true relevance again, the next scene should have been his body being dragged out on a stretcher with a blanket covering him like a body bag. At least then the censorship would have worked.
Hey, did you get a look at Pegasus?
I know, right? All that blood coming out of his empty eye socket. Pegasus enjoying a nice piggyback ride from Chemo and his famous hair.
Hey, what's this?
Something that contains the plot exposition on Pegasus that we should have waited until now to reveal but got sadly spoiled 2 duels ago when Yugi fought Joey.
It involves the Kaiba Corporation and some ancient magic.
You know what the worst part about this is? Pegasus doesn't even explain in his diary how the Kaiba Corporation is supposed to be relevant in any sort of way when it comes to his plan on resurrecting his wife from the dead. I could think he wanted to use some sort of virtual technology, but it's not even explained why the company is relevant at the most important time to reveal.
We said our vows. You were struck down.
Okay, ignoring the exploding plant that engulfs Cecilia Pegasus, did she actually die on the altar, saying vows, and then all of a sudden she drops dead on the floor? I don't think that's how life-threatening diseases work here. It's weird when the visual of an exploding plant was much more realistic than what Pegasus claims actually happened. Also, as I've mentioned before, this reveal would have much more of an impact had this not been the literal second time we watched Cecilia explode on the altar.
My journey eventually brought me to the Great Pyramids of Egypt.
And prior to that, my travels took me to Saudi Arabia, where the prince requested me to host 2 card game tournaments per year as part of a 10-year card game deal.
Those ancient people believed in a life beyond the here and now.
If that's what Egypt believed life to be, I'm shocked it took Pegasus quite a while before he went to that country. I would think that's the first place he'd look.
The pains of a broken heart might lead to only greater heartache.
How do you know?
It matters not. Go home.
Shadi has just been introduced and he's already taken a sit off the counter. Says a fantastic quote about curing heartaches and then flat out tells Pegasus to screw off within seconds. Quite the amazing foreshadowing here. While this show seems to just make things up as we go along, the foreshadowing of the Ishtar family was done well, as both the necklace and rod were missing from the Millennium Stone.
The eye itself? But how?
Oh, it's rather simple. I'm just going to shove this ancient device into your eye, absolutely obliterating your currently functioning eye, pushing it back into your socket, cause potential brain trauma, and possibly kill you even despite the Millennium Magic operating. And shockingly enough, that is exactly what happened and something 4Kids did not censor in any sort of way. They don't allow actual fights to be shown, but we can watch someone get a metal object shoved in their eye socket. Shadi puts the Millennium Eye into Pegasus' socket when the eye itself is in the direction of his face. Wouldn't it make more sense to have the actual eye face away from Pegasus?
You are the chosen one.
Thanks, but do you got any sort of ancient painkillers to help with the fact that I got my fucking eye destroyed just now? Or at least remove the Millennium Eye so that we can get my eye out of my socket as it's still technically in there.
Seeing's not the same as touching.
Poor Pegasus and his constantly exploding wife.
It goes on to say that later Pegasus got an inspiration.
So why did you close the book? If there was more to be told in the story, then keep reading that journal, Taya.
Found a way to combine Kaiba's virtual technology with Millennium items.
That's odd. The one thing I actually want to know about that doesn't make sense, had a chance to be explained, but all Taya says is Pegasus found a way and then closes the book. Finding a way to incorporate virtual technology and Millennium magic to reach the dead? Tell me more, gosh darn it!
Let's find out!
Yeah! I hope they're okay.
What were you even doing still there in the first place? The moment Taya says, come on, let's go find out, everyone but Yugi conveniently leaves the sanctuary. This shot of Shoddy appearing from the afterlife would have been badass had we not seen it in the opening credits sequence of the sequence in the past 40 episodes. If there's anything this series needed to work on, it's not revealing important characters who will be relevant after the main plot of the season had already ended.
The disturbance in the mystic alignment brings me here.
Is the Force actually canon in the Yu-Gi-Oh verse?
All.
No! Stay back!
Yugi sees a random guy just appear out of literal thin air and all he says is stay back. Doesn't call for his friends who are just below him on the stairs.
One is a room of a pure innocence, devoid of malice.
So you're telling me all I had to do to prove my pure innocence was put a bunch of toys all over my room and scatter them? If anything, that's the opposite of pure innocence, as Yugi's mind clearly lacks the cleaning ability.
And this soul is much more mysterious.
It's revealed later on that Shoddy has always known about the existence of the ancient pharaoh and even knows what he looks like. Here he sees the pharaoh and has no reaction to him, which contradicts the later story.
My heritage to guard the Millennium items.
If it's your job to guard the Millennium items, then why do you keep giving them away? By now you only have 2 of them, while the rest were either hidden, stolen, or given away personally at your own hand.
Exploration.
The pharaoh must be having malfunctioning issues with his disappearing power since it stalled like an engine first. This has become one of the weirdest episodes of the series yet. Starts with the gang trying to find Pegasus, the Thief King defeating Pegasus and extracting his eye, the backstory of Pegasus, Shoddy probing into Yugi's mind with a Millennium Key, and now we've gone full Indiana Jones mode here.
This could be the end of me!
Aren't you literally a spirit? Can't you just end your probing? Or is that conveniently not how Millennium items work in this situation?
I don't know why the spirit of my puzzle's doing this to you.
I can understand Yugi being afraid of the pharaoh causing pain to anyone during the Duelist Kingdom tournament, but you can't blame him for this because Shoddy is a stranger who broke into your mind. This type of protection is warranted. Also, this immediately ends Shoddy's search for the thief who took the Millennium Eye just because Yugi saves him from falling into the pit. And you mean to tell me he didn't try to find the Thief King first since that's the guy who killed him and stole the ring?
Until a brave pharaoh locked the magic away.
This somehow doesn't register to Yugi or Shoddy that the pharaoh within the puzzle is the same one that locked the ancient magic away 5,000 years ago. The talk of ancient magic, tablets of duel monsters, and the mysterious presence of an old spirit, and we still need more info on who that pharaoh is?
And why do I suddenly sense magic that the world has not known for 5 millennia?
Maybe because he is the gosh darn pharaoh!
You trust me.
This works.
What do you mean? Is there anything else you can tell me about this?
Nah, we gotta go through another 3 seasons of other situations before I am able to tell you anything. I could tell you everything right now, but I'll come see you once in a blimp next year, and then again 2 years later for no reason. Bye!